So let's just kick it off, shall we? Welcome back, everybody, to our Capacity for Good training. As always, we're so excited to welcome you to this free opportunity. We provide so many amazing free resources, as you all know. And this month especially, I think we're bringing something a little bit unique as we welcome a sort of new partner in our nonprofit community and somebody who I think brings really amazing experience, really amazing perspective, and some really amazing resources as well. So I'm going to talk more about that in a second. But today we're going to be talking about your brand and how to really target that messaging to attract the right donors, right? We can all be sending out emails and social media and get all that messaging out, but how much are you honing in and getting to the right people? So that's what we're really going to be talking about today. As always, please make sure that you're following us on social media, on Facebook, on YouTube, our channel there. This session especially will be posted on our Global Good channel, so make sure that you subscribe so that you are notified when you see that going live. A reminder about Canico's services, we are kind of re-upping all of the offers, and there are so many good opportunities to get involved. So I really just wanted to remind you, if you do need any help as we dive back into live and in person, growing and expanding, to get in touch with us. And certainly you can let me know if you ever have any questions or need any help with anything at all. A few reminders. So there is a recording for this session and we'll be sending it out to all of you. You can use the chat roll throughout our presentation to ask your questions, make your comments, anything you need. We're going to have a ton of resources this session, so make sure that you are checking in that folder with the follow-up and getting those templates, getting those resources, gaining access. I am jumping in, you guys. I have not many updates today because I want to make sure that you know all about our speaker. Andy Rose is such a wealth of knowledge. I know you probably got a little bit of his background from our email that went out, but Andy brings an absolute incredible experience as the president of his company in marketing and digital. And honestly, his background of over 25 years in the nonprofit sector is truly outstanding. More than that, more than 25 years.
No, don't be doing math today. That's all I have to say.
I love it. But he really does bring such a unique and wealth of knowledge to us all. So honestly, I want to jump right in and get right to it, Andy. I want to give you all the time you can get and just jump right in. So I'm going to introduce you and allow you to give them a bit more about your background as we move into how to target those donors.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much, Diana. Thanks so much, everyone, for inviting me today. Are we ready to go? Okay. So my name is Andy Rose, President and CEO of Rose Marcom. I'm up in Boynton Beach, but as maybe you could see, I'm moving my office and my home tomorrow. So not a lot of baggage, I guess, but I'm going to be in Delray Beach pretty soon with a new office. But we're a full service marketing and communications agency since 2016. We focus primarily on nonprofits and cause-minded companies. We all have a journey. I'm sure everybody can tell a story about how they got to where they're at today and doing the special work that you do in the nonprofit arena. But mine began back in Pennsylvania. Actually began really early in life at 11 years old when my mom woke me up very early one Saturday and wanted me to go and volunteer at the local carnival for a mental health organization. I was very reluctant to do so until she told me I was going to be manning the cotton candy machine. So that was a very sweet start. But eventually I became a journalist and then decided to go into corporate public relations. Spent 17 years as an agency owner down at Deerfield Beach. And during that time, I volunteered. I did a lot of pro bono work and found myself looking at a great opportunity at the Jewish Federation of South Palm Beach County in Boca, where I spent the next 11 and a half years as a senior VP of marketing and corporate development. And that's really where I got, the bug to do this work and to kind of marry my love for creative and marketing to my passion for helping others and helping nonprofit organizations. So I was there, like I said, for almost 12 years, helped build and sustain a $21 million campaign. And I'm telling you, if you've ever done events, think of doing 120 to 130 a year. just in Boca Del Rey and Highland Beach. So that was a real great experience as far as being in a real hot cauldron of fundraising and on all levels for all types of groups and affinity groups, et cetera. But I did break out 5 years ago. I'm about to celebrate a 5-year anniversary in June for Rose Marcom. And thank you. I feel like it's 10 years now that we've been through the past year, right? I mean, it's been an unbelievable year where we've had to kind of survive and reinvent what we do. And the focus this past year for me and my team has been helping charities and businesses navigate through COVID. Virtual events, outreaches, online galas, fundraising events. We've done them for Milagro Center, the Symphonia, Hillel of Broward and Palm Beach, to name a few. And tons of social media and digital marketing. Haven't called a printer in a long time. I don't know about you guys, but hopefully the few I did work with are surviving. But at this point, I see the Zoom meeting template every time I close my eyes at night. That's all I can tell you. And so I have a little presentation, and then I can answer any questions on anything that you might have. But I'd like to share a few initial thoughts on the immediate future, because this is such an important transitional time, for nonprofit organizations. And although we're not out of the woods, I think it's important to start thinking about the 3 R's, regrouping, rethinking, and most importantly, reimagining what we do with our organizations moving forward, and what we do to help organizations like yours. And I realize it's different for everyone, whether your focus is on humanitarian issues, and you've probably been providing humanitarian services this past year in that case, or education, or advocacy, or cultural arts, which has been really hard hit this past year. Probably of all the different types of organizations in the nonprofit sector, I think cultural arts, I've read, has been hit the most hard. Like 1 in 3, even 1 in 9, I believe, have been threatened to close. So so I think first it's important, and again, I don't know if you're all sole practitioners or you have teammates, but I think the most important thing is making sure everybody's okay. We've been through a lot. We're going to come out of our foxholes, and is everybody okay? Personally, professionally, are their roles clearly defined now? Because everything has changed. I look at some organizations, they've literally, I've seen, some organizations in which their staff people have taken on new, completely different roles, or combined roles, done things they've never done before. Many have really shown in terms of presenting themselves. They've come out of their shell and done things that I guess they're willing to do on Zoom, maybe not in person, but they're representing their organizations. They're doing great jobs and stepping up and taking the stage. Second, obviously, it's so important to take a look at your mission and your brand, and re-ask those very basic questions, and how you might answer them differently as a result of COVID. And those are, why does your nonprofit exist? Who do you serve? How do you serve them? And then the most important question, is, why should a donor give, to your organization? That is the most important question. Developing a case for giving is the most trending project that I've had since I've been in business, and it's something I did every year. I had to reinvent every year at the Jewish Federation. So, what is your case for giving? So I do have a presentation, if I may jump into that. I'm going to pop up a PowerPoint here, if I can get my technical hand going here.
I was just going to ask, you got it?
Yeah, let me see here. Can you see that?
Yes, just make sure that you hit, there you go.
There you go.
Now
Yep,
we'll be able to see it full screen. Perfect.
So creating and communicating your case for giving. And I'm going to use an example of a local organization. But first, these are some more questions, I guess, and hopefully some answers as a result of I'm not going to ask a lot of questions, but hopefully we can answer a few of them. Does your agency have a case for giving? If so, does it clearly state the need, where the dollars go, their impact? Are you telling stories of those who benefit from your services? And are you doing it effectively? And does your case have a major place in your communications? You have it in print? Is it on your website? Is it something that you can, you have in a PowerPoint that you present to major donors or to large audiences? You could have a few different versions, by the way, because major donors and one-on-one have a completely different mindset, and so your case for giving has to really be presented on a much higher level. It's the core of everything, development. And the word development, financial resource development. It's the basis for annual giving. It's essentially, hopefully, what corporate sponsors buy into, in addition to the what's in it for me proposition. The exposure, where their logo goes, and how many people they reach. That's very important, but also you want them to buy into your mission. Designated giving, big major area I've found that's trending in terms of donors not wanting to just give to an organization, or not only give for operations, annual campaigns, but also they want to find projects. And so we develop designated giving projects, summaries, and we design them really nice for the big projects for major donors. But it could be purchasing a piece of equipment, an instrument for a local program for children learning how to play classical instruments. There's all types of designated giving, but more and more donors want to see their impact. They want to make a direct impact. So presenting designated gifts is important. And it all comes back to the case for giving. Where do the dollars go? What is the mission that all it supports? Legacy giving, obviously, is establishing foundational giving, having someone give a gift, a bequest to your organization. That's something the Federation does, and I'm not sure every organization does, but eventually those are the four kind of pillars of financial resource development: annual giving, corporate sponsorship, designated giving, and legacy giving. So where do you start to develop your case for giving? I call your infrastructure, the information that needs to go into all those different outlets I mentioned: print, website, PowerPoints, speeches. And this is the Jewish Association for Residential Care in Boca. They do amazing work with adults with developmental and intellectual disabilities. JARC Florida, do something extraordinary today. They come right out and say, that their tagline is "Extraordinary people leading ordinary lives." So we wanted to really pull that word "extraordinary" out and bring it to the forefront. We start with an aspirational statement. What do you do, but not specifically, more generally and aspirationally. We come from comfort a parent, shelter a teen, empower an adult, relieve a caregiver, support a dream, nurture a future, transform the lives of those with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their families. Organizational overview, pretty much what they do, their mission and vision statements. JARC brings purpose, dignity, and sense of family and belonging to those with disabilities, and of course their mission. So that's important that they see that fundamental, kind of crossbeam of everything you do, and that's your mission. Description of the needs. They provide special needs services. They work with seniors, and or actually these are just needs of any organization. Special needs in the case of JARC, but there are organizations that support seniors, Holocaust survivors, food, counseling, mental illness. It's so important to describe, the need that you take care of, and if you can, do it in statistical terms. 85% of adults with developmental disabilities are unemployed, and the majority don't have traditional high school diplomas. And these are hard-hitting statistics. But again, I will show you that it's not just statistics that are going to work, but I think it's important, if they are very significant, to present those under a need statement. And then of course you have many programs and services. Just outline them as briefly as you can. Throw in a couple quotes. In this case, some parents, caregivers who really have a very difficult time with adults. That have raised children with developmental disabilities all the way to adulthood. The caregivers need just as much, if not more, assistance as their children. just some more programs that we did put in this particular brochure. And then, like I said, statistics are great, but stories are even greater. It's so important to tell the stories of those you help in human terms. Gary, Sarah, Rachel. In fact, we actually put their pictures and a little quote and a little signature on their on a thank you. Instead of sending thank you letters, they send thank you letters for donations, but they inserted just cards, 3 up on an 8.5 by 11 sheet with Gary, Sarah, and Rachel's photo, respectively, and they put those in. So all of a sudden, you open up a thank you letter, but then you see a face with a name and a signature and a quote. So these are, just stories are so important in what we do, storytelling. And Diana knows about that because she's brought, as chair of the nonprofit council, the Greater Delray Chamber of Commerce, she's started a whole series of storytelling workshops each month, very valuable at the nonprofit council. Call to action: 1, 2, 3, open your heart to care, decide how much you can spare, and write a check or click a link to give. This is actually at the beginning of the case for giving, and then it goes into a lot of the details I just presented a little while ago. And then dollar examples. What's an example of what my donation, what should I give my precious dollars? What impact will a $50 donation make? A $100 donation, $250, $600. Some go up to from some significant numbers in their case for giving, but I think there's a place and time for everything. And these types of pieces are generally used for what we call a community campaign, really to mostly your general audience of donors and not necessarily the major donors. You can spin this into, like I said, a much more targeted presentation for major donors, maybe with some more bells and whistles and little higher price points on what they can invest in. And if they don't want to put money into your operation, show them those designated giving opportunities, which may involve putting their name on something, and they may really perk up. Pledge card, an essential tool. We embed pledge cards like this particular brochure. We have just cards that we hand out at events, and we've actually designed cards that actually are built in envelopes that are nice and self-contained. That when direct mail comes back into play, I expect companies to be more efficient with their direct mail, and those little self-contained envelopes with pledge cards are really, really handy. And they're cheaper in the long run as far as direct mail kits are concerned. So back to other types of things that could surround a brochure: sell sheets that outline giving levels, affinity groups. Some have a business division, some organizations have a women's division. You might want to break out your recipient stories in more detail. We've done that on 8.5 by 11 sheets that fit into nice pocket folder. Donor testimonials. A lot of organizations say, well, why have donors talk? I mean, it's really, once you get the recipient stories established, there's no harm in getting donors to say why they give and to create a mirror image with the types of donors that you're seeking. We did that a lot with the Federation, particularly with the foundation.